What's going on, guys? Donovan here. Welcome back to the Donovan Show. If you're new here on the Donovan Show, I share my reactions, reviews, thoughts, and personal stories. And if you're interested, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell button, and you'll know when the next time I make a video. All right, guys. It's been a while. I've been gone for about wow, it's been about 6 months, but I wanted to come back and just definitely in the afterstorm of the passing of Charlie Kirk and many others who I've looked at online from time to time, and definitely have made an impact uh, in the social media sphere. Thinking about just the reactions from social media and people responding to Charlie Kirk's passing, and the passing of some others I'll mention later. It's been crazy. I mean, it's been really crazy just how you would get online and share hateful thoughts, how you get online and share just not too good thoughts of a person, of certain people. And not only Charlie Kirk, but James Dotson and some preachers that come to mind. I'll share about that later. But just people who I think have made a very good impact in this world and have left definitely some things to think about, some truths, and definitely some things that kind of refer us back to God in a great way. But listening to some of these comments and not trying to listen to them, but they're just blaring out with people and what they had to say, whether you're on social media or whether you catch it in the news. People have to share their thoughts, they have to share their opinions, and that's rightly so, but just in the way they share them have shared them, have been so hateful and crazy. And so thinking about that, I was just thinking about in today's thought blog, it kind of brought me back to kind of the beginning, the first quarter of this year when we had the Super Bowl with Kendrick host doing the Super Bowl show, and just all the things that led up to that. Because you know that song was very popular last year, and the beef it ensued, and the different commentaries and analyzation of it. So people had their thoughts about that song. They had their encampments, who's on this side and who's on that side. And I feel like that's the same thing with the Charlie Kirk incident, is that we can get so caught up in this side or that side, and I think what we lose track of is that it's not like they're not like us, but it's really it's not just us. I think we forget about God, and that in our actions we think so much about each other and against each other, the past, and just different things we don't forgive, or we are very bitter about, and we're so entangled in that we forget about God and what He says, how He says we should be. I give an example, a classic example of the first murder in the Bible, Genesis 4, Cain and Abel, classic Sunday Bible story. Just two brothers, and what's funny is Cain was born first. Him being a farmer, farming is easy. You're taught a lot of patience, and hopefully you learn patience, that you have to plant certain seeds, and hopefully they grow, and you have to deal with the weather and things like that. So he was familiar with patience. And then you have a younger brother that comes on the scene. Both of you are brothers. I mean, imagine how they grew up, and you knew who their parents were, but how they grew up. But all that aside, one fine day, Cain gets upset that his offering isn't good, and God just simply tells him, "You know what is right to do. You know how to go about this, and you refuse to do it." And his anger leads to murder, and then it leads to guilt because that's something he shouldn't have did in the first place. And then when God asked him, "Hey, where's your brother?" Like, look, am I my brother's keeper? Oh, you're upset because you gave in to sin. You gave in to your jealousy. You gave in to your anger. And I think that's what we do when we forget about God. We give in to those things, and it's obvious on social media. It's obvious in our lives daily when we have animosity towards each other, when we have a hatred or unforgiveness towards each other. It's crazy. I'm out here in the beautiful realm of nature, God's nature, and it just kind of brings it home. You look out, and it's so peaceful. Just seeing no snow, it's good. I love it. But just seeing the grass and seeing just the stillness of things and God's artistry, how peaceful it is. And I know that's how I want to live my life. But when we let animosity, we let hatred and things in our lives, it isn't peaceful. It looks very chaotic. It is chaotic. The Bible tells us, do not repay evil for evil. Even if you consider it, a lot of people, and I have to say it like this, some people consider some things evil that's not even evil. And what I mean by that is that there's certain clips, you see a 3-second clip that's part of a 45-minute conversation, and you think that's the gist of the conversation. And until you do your research, until you really go looking into what that conversation was about, that 3-second clip seems like a law. It seems like the truth, but it's not. And that's what I mean, that we have to take the time to research, take the time to thoroughly think out things in our actions before we react to something. I also think about just in personal life, I've had issues with people, whether family or friends, that we weren't on the best of terms, but I'm glad that we've had a chance to really be at peace, no matter what that was, whether that's agree to disagree or just give each other space. But I'm glad that I thought about God and just honoring those people, even though they're gone now, honoring those people, the good that they did. Even an evil person has kindness. And I think you all know that. But so we do all have the capacity to show the fruits of the Spirit, to show what good is in us. We had the capacity to smile. We had the capacity to laugh. We had the capacity to be positive, but that's our decision to do so. To sum it up, guys, I just want to share, there's been a lot of people in my life who have been influences, from my mom to certain mentors to just people in my everyday life. They're not God. They could be reflections of them. They can they've shown me great things, but they're not God. And I think you have good influences, like I said, when you really research their work, and it can even lead you or inspire you to think about God, which would be the good final outcome anyway. But they're not God. I think about just the apostles, when when Jesus left and gave them the ministry, gave them the work, they did the work, and unfortunately some people tried to idolize them, and they had to quickly say, no, don't idolize us, don't look at us, look at the work we're doing as this is from God. Be followers of God, not us. And it makes me think about the scripture. What is it? It's in 1 Corinthians. I'll put it up on the screen later because I'm at the park just chilling. It talks about, just in 1 Corinthians, I'll put the scripture up on the screen, but it talks about just the kind of like the favor, the popularity of influence, and it talks about just the Apostle Paul and Peter and Apollos, and just paraphrasing, the scripture talks about just, hey, some of you say, I follow this person or that person. I'm telling you to follow Christ. And I think about that with all that's going on, and there are a lot of ministers out there, and a lot of influencers, even family and friends in your life that do good things, that do good things, and that you feel like they're they're sharing a part of Jesus with you, and that's great, but they're not Jesus. So as great as those friendships and family and things are, always go to the source. Always follow Jesus and not those people, because those people will come and go. My mom is no longer here. There's so many people that come in and out of my life, and I mean literally, because they were born and now they're gone, you know. But those influences, as great and as negative they are, have both pointed me to rely on my relationship with God, to really seek out, okay, what is love? What are the fruits of the Spirit? And to do the research that way, because it's easy to get encamped on a person and say, I'm going to imitate this of a person. And you can do that, but what you imitate could not be completely like God, completely like Jesus. So be careful on that when you looking up to people, when you following people online. You know, don't get caught up in idols. Get caught up in Jesus. Well, guys, that's my video for today. I kind of rusty getting back into this, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you like the content, definitely like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with some more videos. I just wanted to make a couple of announcements. That one, I won't be labeling the show by seasons anymore. Really, in my personal time, I just don't have a lot of time to do these videos. I'm gonna still do them, but I don't have a lot of time to do them the way I want to, or as much as I want to. So when I do a video, definitely make sure you have the bell notification on all to check out all the videos. I will be making more, like I mentioned in the last season, before we got rid of all the seasons, that it was the time of catching up, and I still have a lot of catching up to do. So definitely stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Donovan out. Peace.